following presentation is being brought to you by Sports Plus.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Four Corners. I'm Pacific and I'm joined by Teo, and we're missing Nebula for the thousandth time. He's off at a Dodgers game somewhere. But welcome back to another episode. It's been a while. Teo, say hello to everybody, bruh. You know,
What's good, bruh?
you know, it's been a crazy season so far, and we have a lot of details. But let's get right into it. I have a special announcement that I think I would have to share with everybody. But I think that my time as playing in RSH is almost out of the clock. Okay, so after season 10. I'm retiring, which means next season is gonna be my last season. Which means, you know, a lot of things might happen, but obviously I'm still gonna be here around RSH. I might just PM, but like playing wise, I'm really not running out of time for it, you know, stuff like that. But that's here nor there. But let's get to the big and juicy stories that have been going on all season long. But man, let's talk about that AL, bruh. They've been going at it all season. Quite frankly, my opinion on it, I think that it's gonna come down to the last couple of series. Cleveland been struggling a little bit, but they just bounced back yesterday with a win over the Blue Jays 4-3. By the way, the triple header streams are on Sports Plus, posted on the YouTube channel. Please go watch them games if you missed it yesterday, because I'm telling you, that was a lot of action from yesterday's games. Um, Teo, you're a part of the Tampa Bay organization, and I gotta get your insights on how y'all preparing for this crazy second half of the schedule. Like, what do you think is going on in that Tampa locker room? Give us some insight.
Well, what I do know is that everybody's working hard. Everybody's focused. Everybody knows that the objective is to win these games down the stretch, and that's something that this team is very capable of doing. You saw fighting up there with Milwaukee, giving some of these really good teams a run for their money in the league. So if we can just get through this last Speedway Classic game here in Bristol, we get a little break, get to recharge, rest, play Toronto, all that, and then go down here, take on San Fran. I think it'll be a very fun series. Um, just gotta win down the stretch. That's all we gotta do. That's what we know everybody else has gotta do. Got a couple more divisional series left, and we know what we got to do. We got the team that can do it. Just gotta put it together. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, you know, and I'm glad that you mentioned Milwaukee there. I mean, hey, that the AL, bruh, they've been battling out. But now that you mentioned Milwaukee, I do want to bring up that team because I will say it's been an interesting season from Milwaukee as we've seen in other seasons. I mean, people around the league they have finally realized that they can take on this Milwaukee powerhouse if they have a good squad that knows what they're doing. And again, we already have the NL rivalry with, me taking on Milwaukee. We already split with them once. We just lost yesterday, but it's still with the fact that not everybody in the league is getting bullied anymore. The Rays split their series with Milwaukee. The Marlins somehow took a game from these guys. I don't know how that happened, but they're sitting at 4-3, tied with the Giants for first in the NL. But I think people are finally starting to realize that they can compete with these powerhouses that have been ruling the league for so long. I mean, we're obviously still gonna probably get that Pacific and Eric, that NLCS, ALCS, whatever you want to call it, that rivalry is gonna happen once again in the playoffs. But we know for sure that for right now, this regular season seems, even in competition, the competition level this season has been probably at its highest for a minute. I think Tail can even agree. I mean, he manages the minor leagues, and golly, I mean, there's been a lot of competition coming from the minor leagues, coming from just the majors in general. Tail, what do you think? I mean, you've seen a lot of this competition. I mean, I know you have a lot of thoughts on this, and I know you're excited for what this season has to hold for the rest of us. What do you think, man?
From what we've been able to see from the people that's come up through the AAA systems, we've seen a lot of new talent come up in here and really make names for themselves and add a new level of complexity to a lot of these teams. You know, it's adding another way for people to stock up and get competitive, and that's what's really contribute to a lot of the good play that you've seen from a lot of these teams in here. Some teams have been able to do it well. Some that come to mind, Nashville. Not gonna glow too much about myself. Sacramento, to an extent, they're doing all right, for themselves. Some other teams haven't quite got it right, but that's okay. And I'm sure as time goes on, people will get better with the system. But it's showing a lot of an easy way. It's showing an easy way for people to gain momentum when they come into the league, and that's important if you want to be able to get established quickly, especially with some of these new guys coming in and taking over franchises.
For sure, for sure. You know, I've seen a lot too. I mean, the competition this season, boy, it's been even as Steven. I'm like, that was corny, but you get what I'm saying, bro. The competition this season has been crazy. And we're not even at we're technically at the halfway point, but like we just came off the All-Star break. And there's a bunch of rookies that have been showing their butt off to the rest of the league. I mean, I'll give a prime example. Z-Man, he's been really killing it for Cleveland. And I mentioned him last night on the stream with the Toronto and Guardians game that was going on. Z-Man was a really great addition to that Guardians team when Miami shipped them off there. That was a really good addition. Z-Man, I think, has 7 homers on the season. He has produced a lot for that offense, and many rookies have too. So, I have a lot of predictions. I think that it's gonna be close in the AL, especially with everything that's going on, the end division rivalries that's starting to occur, the games that we have later in this season. I think the AL is gonna be very competitive down the stretch. NL not so much. And I do want to bring up Miami. Hell, what is your initial thoughts on Miami? Because I know you've seen their minor league system kind of show some whiz and pizzazz. What is your initial thoughts on this Miami team?
I had hope for these guys, but if I had to sit here and be honest, I think they mucked it up here first season. You started off great. You had a good even major league roster, and you had a seemingly strong minor league system. Things are going well for the first 2, 3 games of the season. And then you trade it all away for some win now pieces. And now
Yikes.
look, Jacksonville is 2-3, about to be 2-4 maybe. They traded away they either called up all the players that were good in their system already or traded them away. And now it's kind of a shell of what it used to be. The major league team has been struggling. Historic, the one who bragged about going 5 for 5 and batting 1,000 for one game, has looked like a complete shell of himself in the major leagues. He looked pretty bad, and of course had that suspension towards the end of the first half of the season.
Yikes.
Um, Miami looks like they're in a bit of a hole right now, honestly, and they kind of went all in too early, and they're kind of paying a price for it. Everybody had hope for these guys early, but they kind of sold out, honestly, if you ask me. There were a lot of decisions made by the higher ups that I don't think were supposed to be made, especially where you're coming in here in your first real season. There was just no real development done, and now you're kind of seeing the cost of it.
Yeah, most definitely. I think I kind of have to agree with you there. I mean, they called up historic, and he hasn't been doing good. I mean, he really was the piece that led them to that win against Milwaukee. But I mean, when you facing a suspension like that, and your team's in that critical position, and you're in a powerhouse level division, with Eric and Pacific and my team, me and Eric team, I know both of us will perform well and we will push our teams to the very limit to get to where we are. I mean, Eric's team is on a 2 championship streak. I have my own championships with great like rosters. And I think Miami just didn't take advantage of the situation that they had early on. They really look like a bust to me. I think they need to just sit this one out. Cause trading away Z Man, that was a fleece, man. I don't know what Stowers was thinking when he traded Z Man away, and now he's paying the price when he doesn't have these people. I mean, Tail, you seen the game? They just lost to Tampa 10-1. They just lost They just lost all that to Tampa in the Bristol series. And don't get me wrong, Tampa's a very good team. But when you have a rookie roster, you're trying to show teams why you're a competitor. It's just like they didn't take advantage of it. And now we see the repercussions now. They're sitting at 2-4. Well, yeah, no, they're sitting at 2-5, entering this last game, which takes place tonight, which will probably most likely be streamed by Sports Plus. Um, they are not in a good spot. 2-5 and about to be 2-6 because I ain't gonna lie, the odds of them winning this game, I could put $20 down on the Rays and get my $20 right back because I know that the Rays are going to win this game. That doesn't mean count out Miami, but looking at the situation, it's over with. On to other stories across the league. I mean, um, let's see. Uh, you watched Jason's debut, right, Tail, for the Rays? That
Heard,
whole,
I heard.
he did decent. Jace was one of my key players. I was kind of I was kind of like upset, when he didn't want to be in San Fran anymore. I don't know how this situation occurred. I don't know, like it's, it's just like he just didn't want to be here. But it's like, I built the team around him and we've been, on the same team for so long. I just hate to have to see the man go. But, things happen. Things gotta change. I did kind of do have like a locker room. That was a locker room meltdown for like the first time I've ever had a locker room meltdown. That kind of was over some stupid stuff, but at the same time, I mean, like it was for the better. I mean, we did get a good return out of it for Vikrin. That was a good piece that had they're both been doing good. Jace, one homer, three RBIs against Miami in his debut. Vikrin had a 2-run shot and the save against Cleveland in his debut with the Giants. But we had a locker room meltdown. Another piece that's not playing but is just sitting on my roster is Say. And that was kind of interesting because kind of did it over some stupid stuff. I mean, he legit didn't want one person to be called up from the minor league system. And I called him up and he went off and performed, had 2 RBIs in his game, in his first ever game, had 2 crazy catches at third base, and we won the game. I think I disconnected. I don't know how. Anywho, uh, 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 I didn't disconnect. But Tail, as I'm getting back in the game, Tail, what do you think? Oh yeah, we are at the studio. But Tail, like, we gotta get your inside thoughts. What do you think about, the whole situation with Say and Jace, you know, leaving
Yeah.
or parting their ways?
I'm I'm happy to have Jace on the team as an executive, but from a player standpoint, those type of things can happen for many types of reasons. Um, I just really think Jace just needed another like just more scene. He needed a change in his scenery, you know. He been there for a long time, and I just think things were kind of stagnating for him after his Tommy John after the Speedway Classic and all that happened. I don't know. I just don't think he felt the same anymore, you know, having that in there. I'm just glad he was able to find a place where he can perform and do well. And hopefully we can get him that ring, that next ring that he wanted. That's all I got to say.
What do you think about the Say situation? I feel like that was kind of dumb. I mean, he refusing not to play because Bob Wardo got called up, and Bob Wardo has done what he has done all season in just his 2 games played with us. And what's your initial thoughts on it? I feel like it's stupid.
Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. When Roberto was first called up, I was a little shocked at the point that it happened. You know, he hadn't hit a single home run in the minors yet that entire season. He only pitched 1 inning. You know, it came kind of a shock. You know, I thought you want to leave a guy in the slow cooker a little bit. You know, get him right a little more. See him start hitting stuff against some of the better competition in the minors, and then be like, yeah, I think we can get this guy now. At the time, the timing was probably the thing that was like weird about the situation. So I kind of get it from a player standpoint, but there are more things I probably don't know about the situation, and that's whatever.
And we'll be going to a we'll be going to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with some more around the league. And welcome back to Four Corners, uh, presented by Sports Plus and Pacific Seafood Haven. We are back with a little Q&A from our subscribers, our listeners, our followers, and I have one that my production team just gave to me, and I quote: "Do you think Regan will pop off with his team later in the season?" And that's a really good question. You know, um, I think personally, just myself as a player and just doing all these things, I think that Rogan will pop off with his team. You know, I think what we were able to do against them in the series before the break, I think we kind of brought them back to earth in a sense of them being 3-1 early in the season. But we were able to, come back, come back through adversity and force these 2 games from them. bring them to a 3-3 record. And I think that the competition now that they have with the other AL opponents will definitely give them a run for their money. But I think that Cleveland will definitely establish themselves, rather it's the first seed or the second seed. Do I see them dropping out of the playoffs? Maybe, but if Toronto can pick up their slack and do the end of their deal, I think that it might be a little tussle. But from my current standpoint, I think Ragon will pop off with his team. Um, Another question from a well-known player, Shade. Who is winning the MVP? This is always a tricky one because it's early in the season. We're barely at the halfway point. My honest opinion, as of right now, I think that if he can get over his playoff humps and he can show everybody that he's a true player when it comes to the playoffs, I think that Ragon will walk away with an MVP this season. And I say that because you got to think about it. His pitching has been crazy. He has over 50 strikeouts, over 7 games played. Despite the runs he gave up against San Francisco and that whole charade, he still probably has under a league average of he has like a 3 ERA last time I checked. But I think if Ragam can take his team to the next level and lead them to a World Series and maybe win it all, I think he might solidify himself as a front MVP runner. But I will not count out Shade, Shade yourself. You have been popping off lately. I will not count you out at all. I think that you can when if you are able to again do the same thing Ragam is trying to do, elevate his team to the next step. Um let's see. I And we have our last question of the Q&A from somebody. They said, "Will will Toronto be able? Will Toronto sell?" I think I think Toronto won't sell. I think Toronto will make the competition close. I think Toronto will definitely get the competition close. If Silver and Young can get to doing their job, same with Boost and Cats, they'll be a good team. Um, my second last question from Shade. He says, "Who is going to be the last seed in the AL?" Again, it's tricky because everybody's competing. The odd man out, obviously, is probably the Blue Jays, and I'll probably say it's the Blue Jays just based off their team's activities in the early slates of games. But we'll see. I think it's Toronto. It can probably be Cleveland if the Rays go on a run and the Blue Jays maybe toughen up. I could see maybe Tampa too, but I think my safe bet is gonna be the Blue Jays. And I think that's it for the questions on the Q&A. And that is going to be end of our Q&A by my producers that just told me. We are going to wrap it up here on Four Corners. It has been an absolute wonderful time telling you guys all these stories and updating you guys on the league. You already know my name. I'm Pacific, joined by I don't know where these guys went, but we will see you at the Bristol Speedway Classic for another great game of RSH. Good night, everybody.
Also, side note: the Wizards are winning at halftime.
I might care about the
Who
Wizards.
cares about the Wizards?
Selves up, bro. The Wizards are the best team in the NBA. Wizards are the best team in the NBA, by the
Oh,
way.
happy Halloween, everybody. Happy early Halloween, everybody.
Wizards are winning it all.
You know. Get this pocket out the way. Security.